What is up, amigos? Hope you're doing awesome. My name is Maddie and welcome back to my channel. There's a certain magic in cinema when a superstar like Rajinikanth walks onto the screen. The atmosphere changes, the audience reacts, and even the simplest of shots feel like an event. You don't just watch a Rajini film, you experience it with a crowd that's clapping, cheering, and waiting for that signature swag. With Coolie, Lokesh Kanagaraj brings Rajinikanth into his world, and the expectations were naturally sky high. Not just because it's Rajini, but because Lokesh is known for crafting mass cinema with style and grit. Add to that a powerhouse supporting cast, music by Anirudh, and a release timed perfectly for the long weekend, and you have a film that promised to be the ultimate entertainer of the year. But does Coolie deliver that big screen satisfaction from start to end, or does it stumble under the weight of fan service and hype? Let's talk about it. So Coolie starts on a note that instantly tells you you're in for a stylish ride. Rajinikanth plays a former Coolie union leader, a man who has seen the struggles of the working class, earned their respect, and then stepped away from that world. But as it always happens in these mass dramas, the past comes calling. The suspicious death of a close friend, Sathyaraj, forces him to pick up the mantle again, and from there the story dives into a dangerous crime web involving powerful men, personal choices, and a city that runs on greed and fear. Now, the first half of the film is a smooth blend of action, drama, and build-up. Lokesh knows how to stage a hero entry, and Rajinikanth's introduction here is loaded with moments designed to send fans into a frenzy. There's swagger, there's style, and then there's that charm only Rajini can pull off. Supporting this energy is Anirudh's thundering background score. Every punch, every stare, and every slow-motion shot is elevated by his music, making him a consistent highlight from start to finish. The film also benefits from Shoubin Shahir's genuine menace, which adds weight to the conflict. Now, visually, the first half is impressive. I loved it. The production design captures the grit and scale Lokesh is known for, blending bustling marketplaces, crowded train stations, and moody night shots with bursts of color and movement. The stunt choreography is slick, with set pieces that feel big without turning completely over the top. The interval block also works well, setting up the second half with enough intrigue for you to wonder how this battle is going to end. But this is where the film's momentum starts to shift, and not for the better. The second half is where Coolie begins to give in to its own image. Instead of pushing the story forward with tight writing and escalating drama, the screenplay starts leaning heavily on fan service. Cameos, slow motion shots, nostalgic nods, they start becoming the main attraction rather than the spice. Upendra and Aamir Khan appear here as well, but their presence feels more like fan service aimed at their respective language audiences than as genuine plot progressing devices. Fan service, when balanced, can add a lot of joy, but when it takes over, the actual story loses its bite. Here, after a point, you start noticing that the plot isn't really moving anywhere significant. Scenes exist more to deliver a moment for the audience than to tell the story in a meaningful way. This shift in focus also affects the pacing. The first half moves briskly, but the second half starts feeling stretched. You find yourself waiting for the next big BGM drop or slow motion hero shot rather than being pulled in by what's happening in the story. And for a film directed by Lokesh Kanagaraj, someone who has built a reputation for balancing mass moments with strong narratives, this feels like a step down. That's not to say the second half is devoid of entertainment. If you're here purely for the mass theater experience, the claps, the whistles, the larger-than-life presence of Rajini, there's plenty of that. Anirudh continues to be the MVP in this technical department, keeping the energy alive even when the writing starts to sag. Rajinikanth, despite the flaws in the script, delivers what his fans come for, a mix of effortless style, sharp dialogue delivery, and moments that feel like a direct conversation with the audience. Now, performance-wise, Nagarjuna, despite his strong screen presence, feels too cliched. As the main villain, his character lacks the unpredictability and the depth that could have made the conflict truly memorable. Shoubin Shahir, on the other hand, makes an impact with his cold and calculating presence and menace. Shruti Haasan and Sathyaraj get their moments, but their roles are largely functional, moving the plot forward without much depth. Now, technically, Coolie shines in its music, as I said earlier, and sound design. Anirudh's score is already a talking point, but the sound mixing in action sequences deserves credit too. The punches, the gunshots, and crowd roars are mixed to create a live, charged atmosphere in the theaters. Cinematography captures both the grit of the streets and the grandiosity of the hero moments. There's a lot of Lokesh's signature camera movement here. Fluid tracking shots, the dramatic pullbacks, and clever use of foreground action to add depth. Editing, however, could have been tighter in the second half. Some scenes linger longer than they need to, especially when the story isn't progressing. This is where you feel the runtime and where the film's energy dips. In terms of themes, well, let's ignore this part. There's not much here. Given Rajinikanth's role as a union leader, there was room to explore some themes in a way that could have added maybe some weight and relevance. Instead, the film prioritizes spectacle over substance. The action choreography is worth talking about. While not every set piece is jaw-dropping, the staging is consistently clear, which makes the sequences easy to follow. There's a mix of grounded hand-to-hand combat and more stylized moments that play into the mass cinema grammar. The train sequence and the mansion fight, they all look good. However, as the film moves into the final act, the action starts to feel repetitive, with similar beats repeating for the sake of another slow-motion highlight. The climax is designed for applause, big moments, big reveals, and a sense of finality, but whether it feels satisfying will depend on what you came for. If you're here for a Rajini celebration, it delivers. If you're looking for a tightly written, emotionally resonant conclusion, it may leave you wanting more. So my final verdict, Coolie is a film caught between two identities. It wants to be a stylish, high-stakes action drama, and it also wants to be a full-blown Rajinikanth fan celebration. In the first half, it manages to balance these two things well, giving you a story with momentum and plenty of mass moments. But in the second half, the balance tips heavily towards fan service, and the story takes a backseat. What keeps the film afloat even then is Rajinikanth himself, his charisma, his ability to own the screen, and the sheer joy that his presence brings to his fans. Add to that Anirudh's music, which doesn't just support the film, but often carries it, and you have a package that still works for the big screen experience, even if it doesn't live up to the high bar both Rajini and Lokesh have set in the past. So if you go in expect gripping gangster drama, you might come out wishing it had more substance, but if you go in ready to enjoy the mass theater atmosphere, the cheers, the whistle, the high voltage moments, Coolie will give you plenty to celebrate. It's a reminder that sometimes the magic of cinema is less about the story on paper and more about the connection between a star and his audience. Whether that's enough for you will depend on what you expect walking in. Thank you for watching us today. If you liked my honest take, please do like and comment and subscribe to the channel for more such reviews and opinions in the future. You take care, stay awesome, and bye-bye.